What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Now, I would have made a video like this um, up until about maybe a week ago, right? But now that it seems like David Ortiz is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, Cooperstown, even though he was linked to the George Mitchell report back in 2003, he's been linked to steroids, but he's getting in. So all this time, a lot of us suspected that that was just a front. You know what I'm saying? That was just a front for certain people to be ostracized from the Hall of Fame while other people get passes. I'm going to say right here, why not put Sammy Sosa and Mark Mcgwire in the Hall of Fame? They may not have been as impactful, I would say, as winning championships, which is a total team effort. They may not have been as impactful as prolonged playoff performances. I'll say that. But to me, they did something that was even more important than winning rings. And that is, you could pretty much say they saved Major League Baseball. They saved the sport. Um, the only person I think that did more so as far as saving the sport of baseball, the two that say that did more were Jackie Robinson and Babe Ruth. Um, because the color barrier was going to have to be broken eventually. Okay. And the first one was always going to be the hardest one. And Jackie Robinson, despite all the stress that he had to deal with, he was the standard bearer that held the line and paved the way for so many other brothers to come after him. And Babe Ruth, you got to give him credit because after the Black Sox scandal in 1919, um, baseball took a real big hit from that. And Babe Ruth saved baseball in that way with how revolutionary he was with the home run. But with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, yes, they've been linked to steroids. McGwire admitted to using steroids. And I do believe that it's been proper to not make him first ballot and to make him suffer and to make him wait until he's old and gray. Okay? Um, but at the same time, something doesn't set right with me seeing certain people get in and others not, even though they all committed the same crime. And Ortiz, he was caught using steroids. He tested positive. Whereas with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, it's suspected. With Sammy Sosa, it's suspected. McGwire admitted it eventually. All right. Um, that strike in 1994 caused Major League Baseball to lose a lot of goddamn fans, a lot of them. And the Cal Ripken streak, and when he broke Lou Gehrig's all-time consecutive games mark, that brought a little buzz. But baseball was not where it was before. It was not where it was before. And the only thing that brought those fans back, and actually created new fans, was the home run chase of 1998. And what gets me about it, what really fucking gets me about it, is that Major League Baseball profited off of all of that shit from 1998. Let's just say 1990. Let's just say the mid 1990s, all the way until when Barry Bonds retired, right? If they suspected that those players were using steroids, if they suspected that Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, uh, Rafael Palmeiro, Juan Gonzalez, Bonds, uh, Greg Vaughn, possibly Gary Sheffield. The list goes on and on and on. If they suspected that, well, they didn't show it because as long as it was cashing those checks, what I'm saying, and getting all that money from fans coming back and all those new advertisements, what I'm saying, all those new sponsors, they looked the other way. But it's not just the fact that they brought back those fans and brought back new ones. It wasn't just that. Mcgwire has the resume. Okay, he didn't have the highest batting average. He wasn't uh, Tony Gwynn out there. Okay, he wasn't Roberto Clemente. He wasn't Rod Carew. He wasn't the guy who's going to hit for a high average. What his job was, he was a power hitter that drove in runs. And when you look at the fact that he missed so many games in his career, he missed hundreds and hundreds of games, especially between the years of 1991 and 1995. He missed a whole shitload of games at that time, but he still hit 583 home runs. He still drove in 1,414 RBI. He still won a World Series ring in 1989, the Earthquake Series. He was a multiple time All Star. He was named in the All Century Major League Baseball team back in 1999. He led the league in home runs, I believe, 4 different seasons. He holds the record for most home runs, I believe, in a 4-year span between 1996 and 1999. And he would have, because he wanted to play until he was 40 years old, he would have at least challenged Hank Aaron's record had he not started breaking down again at the time he turned 36 years old, close to 37 in 2000, because his plans were to play until he was 40 years old. I watched the guy play. To me, he's the greatest power hitter I've ever seen. He has the lowest career home run at bat ratio at 10.6. It's lower than Babe Ruth, who's number 2. It's lower than Barry Bonds, who's number 3. It's lower than Mickey Mantle. It's lower than Ted Williams. It's lower than Dick Allen's, Reggie Jackson. No matter who you name, he hit home runs with more frequency than anyone else. He is arguably the greatest power hitter. I mean, the only ones that are in his league as far as hitting home runs for distance are Babe Ruth and Dick Allen, uh, Reggie Jackson, Jimmy Fox, Willie Stargell, Frank Howard. Those are the only guys that are really in his league when it comes to hitting home runs and hitting them with distance. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the most exciting hitters I've ever watched. Now, yes, he was somewhat one-dimensional. Yeah, he wasn't a five-tool player. He did win, I think, 1 or 2 Golden Gloves at first base. But as he got bigger and stronger, he was not the most nimble guy. It limited his mobility as he got bigger. But when I look at his accomplishments, especially considering how many what he was able to do, considering um, that he missed so many games, I think that he should be in the Hall of Fame. Especially now, like I said, that they seem to be making too many exceptions now. You know, um, I believe that if he doesn't get in this year, Alex Rodriguez is going to get in next year. And if you put in Alex Rodriguez, who tested positive twice, I believe, to steroids, but you're going to put him in, but then you're penalizing these other guys. Doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think he should get in. Now, he can't get in. The only way that Mark Mcgwire can get in now is through the Veterans Committee. Um, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it's possible. It's possible, but it may not be anytime soon. But as the years go on, and I think the stigma of steroids starts to fade, and when a lot of these writers and journalists start noticing that they're voting in certain people who have been accused of steroid usage, and other ones who've been more stigmatized for some reason aren't getting in, then I think that some of these other guys are going to get in. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely, to me, this is just my opinion, just based off of the numbers. Mark Mcgwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, obviously, Roger Clemens, obviously, and Rafael Palmeiro, and Manny Ramirez, another one. They should all get in. I don't give a, honestly, to be honest with you, if it was just my opinion, I wouldn't give a fuck about steroids. The only time I care about steroids is when it comes to a person using them in combat sports, because that's when it's dangerous. You shouldn't be able to use steroids when you're in a combat sport like boxing, um, technically wrestling. Um, but then again, everybody was using steroids, so it didn't really fucking matter. But boxing, MMA, something like that, I look that's totally different to me. But yeah, I think Mama McGuire should be in the Hall of Fame. Tell me what you guys think. I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're out your damn mind," but it is what it is.